Welcome to the first of probably a few Let's Plays of Sakura Angels. Let's see what this is about here. Every night. Every night I have the same dream. Every night I'm always brought back to this place without fail. And then every morning I'll wake up with no memory of this place at all until the next time I fall asleep. Not a single night has went by without my consciousness being dragged into the abyss. This realm is devoid of light, so much so that I can't even see my hand in front of my face, no matter how desperately I wave at it. The concept of sound is just as absent, my steps silent and my distressed cries swallowed by the bordering darkness as quickly as they had left my mouth. I'm in a bleak, barren wasteland of nothingness. Spending any prolonged amount of time here begins to make me doubt even my own existence. Yet, despite feeling suffocated by a striking absence of anything, I know I'm not alone. Someone or something is watching me, stalking me from the shadows. I can't say for sure what it is, but every once in a while I'll catch sight of something from the corner of my view. A pair of burning bright eyes fixated purely on me. They hate me, despise me. There's an overwhelming sense of animosity radiating from whoever they belong to. I know they want nothing more than to lash out and attack me, but something is holding them back. A force they truly despise. Invisible chains that bind and restrict them from the one thing that is on their mind. At first, when I began dreaming about this place, the eyes were distant, like glimmering stars. But with each passing night, the eyes seem to inch ever closer and shine ever brighter. I think whatever force has been holding them from me is beginning to fade. What will happen when these eyes reach me? I shudder to think. I know it's just a dream, so I shouldn't be afraid, but everything I experience here is vivid. None of the usual murky haze that shrouds such dreamlike environment seems to exist here at all. I have perfect clarity. I can feel the stagnant, freezing air all around me enough to incite a shiver out of me every once in a while. Since I'm so used to this dream, I know how it'll end. I'll wade through the darkness for what seems like an eternity, never finding anything, until the morning finally comes and pulls me out of this nightmare. At least, that was how it usually ended. Something is different tonight. Those hateful burning eyes that always kept just out of sight before, suddenly confronted by them. Never before have they been so close. Never before have I stared straight back into them. Their narrowed, piercing gaze roots me to the spot and a shooting pain surges through me. I can't move. I can't breathe. And then from out of the darkness a crooked smile spreads, just as sinister as those eyes. So close. I can practically taste the freedom. It won't be long now. Enjoy the peace while you can, boy, for your days are numbered. And then everything shall change. Ugh. My head is killing me. These morning migraines are the worst. Every morning without fail, I always wake up to a sensation not unlike my skull being pounded by a jackhammer. Thump, thump, thump. It's almost like a heartbeat. I feel like my head is going to split open. It's weird though, because even though the pain is so intense, it never lasts long. The space it takes me to get up and head for school, the pain is usually reduced to just a dull throb at the back of my skull by then. So it isn't too much of a hassle in the grand scheme of things. but it certainly isn't a fun way to wake up. I just find it odd how consistent it seems to be. Anyway, enough pondering these weird mysteries. It's time to tackle the day. After a moment of wrestling with my blanket, I swing my legs around and drag myself out of bed. A quick look at my bedside clock tells me it's still early. Too early. If I had it my way, the world wouldn't start until at least a good way into the afternoon. But sadly, life just isn't that wonderful. Pulling back the curtains to let the light flood into my room, I suppress the urge to let out a hiss, almost blinding myself in the process. The rest of my time getting ready is spent fighting with my uniform, a tie becoming all the more problematic to put on when you're half asleep. Oh God, I think I've actually got my hands stuck in it. Almost choking myself to death in the most pathetic fight ever, I finish putting on the tie, the rest of my uniform complying peacefully with me. Unable to find a comb, I settle for just flattening my hair down with my hands. Blinking into the mirror, I'm left staring back at someone with messy, black hair. It's close enough. Somewhat dressed and somewhat ready, I stumble out of my room, my legs still not fully awake. Uneven steps carry me dangerously down the stairs, and I'll soon emerge into the kitchen. I'm greeted by silence. The kitchen is empty. A familiar scene for me. My parents are what you might call workaholics. Basically, they spend more time at their respective jobs than they ever do here. I only ever get to catch them during the evening while we're eating, and then everyone is off to bed and the cycle repeats. Don't get me wrong, I understand they have to work in order to keep us living comfortably, so I don't hate them for it. It just gets, lonely. Oh well, there's no use moping about it. It's been like this for years, so I don't know why I was getting all emotional about it now. The plus side of them not being around is that I quickly had to learn how to cook for myself. It's amazing how fast you can adapt to that sort of stuff when you're starving. I don't think I have enough time for anything fancy to eat for breakfast, so I'll just settle for some toast. You can never go wrong with toast. Okay, you might be able to go wrong with toast. I have sudden traumatic flashbacks to when the toaster erupted into flames. Ah, what a day that was. But I've learned from my mistakes now. It won't happen the second, third time. Having devoured the only slightly charred toast, I sling my bag over my shoulder before starting out for the front door. I give the empty house one last look over before opening the front door. It's kind of depressing to have no one to say goodbye to. But again, this has been the same for every weekday morning since forever ago. The sun is shining high in a cloudless sky. The birds are chirping overhead. Waves of students are passing by, happily chatting with one another as they all make their way to school. It's all so horrible. I'm not much of a morning person, so I can't even begin to fathom how everyone could be so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed right now. I mean, it's taking all of my willpower just to be able to put a foot in front of the other without just crumpling to the ground. I just have to hope the breakfast kicks in and gives me the energy I need before I'm forced to literally drag myself through the school gates. While keeping my head down and my eyes glued to the ground as I soldered on, I suddenly noticed that the vibrant atmosphere from before is gone. Silence has completely taken over, my steps the only thing making any noise. The air is still. Huh? That's a bit strange. Bringing my head up, I met with an unsettling sight. The street is deserted. No students, no cars, and even the cheerful chirping of the birds is gone. What? I hurry on forward, hoping to at least run into somebody. Anyone. Even the sun's once golden rays seem muted, the world tinged in dreary tones, but there still isn't a cloud in the sky. Okay, this is definitely starting to freak me out. I need to just... A splitting pain shoots through my head, stopping me in my tracks. like a searing poker being thrust through my skull. A headache? Now? Nothing is making any sense. Desperately trying to keep myself upright as I clutch a hand to my head, I stagger forwards. Unlike the headaches from before that gradually died down, this one only seems to be getting worse. Thump, thump, thump. I won't stop at all. I'm brought to my knees. I can hardly even think straight, my head threatening to explode at any moment. And then, through gritted teeth and a pained expression, I see it. Something that shouldn't exist yet clearly does, as confirmed by my own terrified eyes. A monster. It's the only word that could come to my scrambled mind. A hulking, grotesque mass of flesh with gnarled fangs and red slitted eyes seething with hate. The closest thing I can relate to it would be a dog, but no dog I know of is 3 times the size of me, its form practically eclipsing the sun. It snorts with flared nostrils, something like steam being exhaled out. Given its tense stance and the fact it's blocking my way, I can only assume it's here for me. But why? What the hell is it? Where did it come from? Why does it want me? 1,000,001 questions race through my head, but I doubt I'm going to get any answers from this thing. There's only one thing I could do when presented with such odds, and that is to stand my ground or flee. Okay, I'm gonna get my ass out of there. I'm gonna stand my ground. Of course. I don't know what the hell that thing is or why it suddenly appeared before me, but I'm not going to let it take me down without a fight. Ignoring the pain that threatens to consume my skull, I straighten myself up and stare right back into the hateful eyes of that beast. And then tightening a fist, I lash out like lightning, my fist connecting with its head, cleanly with a solid impact. Take this, foul beast. Wham! Okay, no. Bad idea. That did nothing. In fact, it looks even angrier than it did before now. All I've managed to do is bruise my own fist. I hope I haven't broken anything. I reel back from my brutal attack, giving the fist in question a good shake. It still stings. Ow. Now what do I do? My blazing surprise attack was met with complete indifference, and now I think it's too late to run as the creature is gearing itself up for a charge, its front leg digging into the ground. This might have been a mistake. I try to turn tail and begin running, but the beast kicks off of the ground straight towards me. There's nothing else I can do. I brace myself as best I can for the inevitable bone-shattering impact. Right before the beast can connect with me and bring my life to a grisly end, a dazzling, radiant light floods my vision, engulfing both me and the monster. The beast stops in its tracks, a guttural cry escaping it before it vaporizes before my eyes. What? What the hell just happened? Geez, that was a close one. Are you alright? A cheerful voice chirps. A welcome sound after the terrors of that thing. Don't talk to him. We have to leave before... And then another voice that's less cheerful. In fact, they sound angry more than anything. Lord Jim. The light soon fades, revealing my saviors. Though, this is definitely the last thing I was expecting. 2 girls, roughly my age, stand before me. I blink several times before I scrub at my eyes, hoping things might make a little more sense. This can't be real. I'm having more trouble believing these girls are actually standing before me than I did the monster. Wielding weapons and costumes taken straight out of a fantasy book, it's all a bit much for my brain to attempt to process. What? What the heck was that? A shadow. The more cheerful of the two simply says that to me, her stance relaxing some. Huh? Was that supposed to explain everything? I glanced down at my feet where my own shadow stretches, but the girl burst into a giggle. Not your own shadow, silly. That thing we just took care of, which you're welcome for, by the way, is what we call a shadow. The physical manifestation of all the hatred and negative emotions that might lurk in one's heart. Normally they're not so aggressive during the day, though. It was really out for you. We're usually pretty good at nabbing them before they get to you, but this one completely took us by surprise. I'm happy we got here in time. You're not hurt, are you? No, I'm fine, but... As if things weren't bad enough that we had to reveal ourselves to him, now you're just casually blabbing away things that no normal person should have a right to know. Have you lost your mind? I'm cut short by the more aggressive looking of the pair, whose expression had grown darker and darker as the cheerful one had spoken, looking like she's unable to take it anymore. She exploded, causing both of us to jump. Ah, but he looks so confused, and now that he's seen one of the shadows firsthand, don't you think it's just a little too late for us to quietly slip back into the shadows? Her eyes narrow into a frightening glare. It's clear she is not happy. But I don't think she has anything to counter that. See? You worry too much. We'll only tell him what he needs to know. Nothing more, nothing less. The upbeat girl brings her attention back to me, a sparkle in her eyes. Right, so Kenta, where were we? We were... Wait. How do you know my name? Huh? Oh. Whoops. She puts a hand to her mouth as if to try and take back the words. The questions continue to pile up, and I still haven't gotten any answers. You idiot! Whap! The serious one wraps her fist against the other's head, who sticks her tongue out in a sort of tee-hee, my bad kind of way. So you guys know me? I've never seen them in my life. And given how they look, I definitely think I would have remembered them. Well, we don't know you personally, but we've been watching over you for a while now. You've become quite the point of interest recently, you know. Me? What the heck did I ever do to get so much attention? As far I know, I'm just an average student who lives an average life, doing average things. Though after this, I guess I can't really call my life average anymore. Can't really go into details because, you know, top secret and all, but let's just say it's not in our best interest for you to fall into the wrong hands. You wouldn't believe how much effort we've been putting into keeping you safe, you know. Actually, I'm kind of relieved we finally get to meet so you can finally appreciate all of our hard work. She beams at me, leaning in perhaps just a little bit too close. She's throwing so much at me here I can hardly think straight. Just who the heck are you guys? She falls deep into thought, her nose scrunching up. I guess she's choosing her words carefully as to avoid another brutal assault from her partner. Think of us as your guardian angels, okay? Saying that, she gives her bow a flourish and it shatters, or a bow a flourish and it shatters between her fingers. Moments later, the shattered pieces of the bow begin to gather behind her, the shards piecing back together rapidly until finally they form a pair of wings on her back. The wings, while not strictly attached to her, at least seem to function as they sway in the breeze and give off a glimmer every now and again. Wait, are they literally angels? Let me get this straight. Start from the beginning. That thing that attacked me, that monster, you call those shadows. Yep. And these shadows have supposedly been hunting for me for a while now. Because apparently if they catch me, It'll be bad for unspecified reasons. Yep, really bad. And you guys, whoever you are, have been combating them from the shadows to keep me safe from harm. She nods enthusiastically. It looks like I've just about got a grip on what this whole thing is, even if it was a little sparse on details. Knowing all this, it brings me to the conclusion that as crazy as this all sounds, I really can't deny the evidence before me. That monster was definitely real, and I have no reason to doubt these girls who destroyed that thing right before my eyes. Okay, so, what happens now? Well, now that the shadows have gotten more aggressive, I really don't think we can go back to our old job of watching you from afar. We were lucky to just barely catch that thing just now, after all. Somehow I don't like the sound of that, or what it might imply. So we'll be parting ways for now, but expect us to be keeping an extremely close eye on you from now on, okay? Bye-bye for now. She gives me a wink and a wave before taking off in the other direction. Her less enthused partner simply turns her head from me with one last humph before following after her. I'm soon left completely alone within the street where just moments ago my entire world had been spun on its head. Did all that just happen? Aw, geez, all this will have to wait for later though. Right now, I have to focus on the bigger issues. I'm late for school. I break into a sprint as I try to make up for lost time, all the while hoping that I'll never run into those two again. Somehow, I just about barely make it to class. It was a photo finish through the door right as the bell rang, but I made it. Taking a moment to catch my breath, I drag myself over to my desk, the teacher arriving almost seconds after I collapse into the chair. Too close. None of the other students seem to be bothered by my late entrance, though at this point maybe this is what they expect of me anyways. I have been pretty late at times, even missing the bell entirely some days, mostly due to sleeping in. At least this time I had an actual reason for cutting it so close. However, after what happened earlier, I think it's going to be impossible for me to focus on this lesson. I'm beginning to wonder if it'll ever even get an explanation for whatever the heck that was that just happened. Impossibly tall creatures, girls wielding magic weapons. No matter how I look at it, my brain refuses to accept it as reality. It goes against everything I know. I scrub through my hair, a faint headache still ringing at the back of my head. Being lucky enough to have a seat situated by the window, I let my gaze wander out, my eyes vacant as I stare into the clear blue sky. The teacher is doing his usual morning speech, no doubt talking about the upcoming events for our school, but his words are just a dull mumble in my ears, my mind miles away. Those girls knew me by name, and no matter how far I delve back through my memories, it's clear I've never seen them in my life. At least, I don't think I've seen them before. I think hard, maybe too hard, to the point my eyes begin to strain. Nope, nothing. I can't recall a single thing that might shed light on this. Defeated for now, I tune back into the classroom while still keeping my sights set on the sky, the teacher's voice becoming clear once more. Now, I know it's a bit sudden, but as of today, we have 2 transfer students that will be joining our class. Transfer students? At this time of the year, it's a bit late to be joining, don't you think? Even the teacher sounds confused as he announces them. And not just 1, but 2? Why do I get the feeling there's something off about this? Almost as if it's tied into what happened earlier. Ha! No, it couldn't be. I'd like you all to make them feel welcome as they transition in. What did you say your names were? I'm Sayaka. It's nice to meet you all. I hope we can all get along. I bolt upright in my seat, my head snapping towards the front of the classroom. That upbeat voice, is it really? Sure enough, two girls I never thought I'd see again are stood before me. My school, in my classroom no less, wearing the school's official uniform. The cheerful one, Sakura, bows politely to the class, flashing me a grin as her eyes pass over me. What is this? The other girl is less courteous, her arms crossed and her brow furrowed. She doesn't look pleased to be here at all. Her gaze passes over me too, but rather than a smile, she gives me a nasty glare. Is she blaming me for this? It sure feels like it. The grumpy one beside me here is Hikari. Go on, say hi. Hey, don't. Sayaka gives her a playful push and she stumbles to the center of the classroom. Everyone's eyes upon her. She looks like she's at a loss for words, her mouth opening and closing as her face gradually grows red. I guess she doesn't cope well under the spotlight. I am Hikari. I'm Hikari. Nice to meet you all. She trails off into a murmur before spinning on her heel and storming her way back to Sayaka, practically hiding behind her. See, that wasn't so hard, was it? Hikari simmers with silent rage, her hands balled up into tight fists, practically shaking. I'm sure if she wasn't in a classroom full of people, things might have gotten violent here. With their introductions over, the teacher motions for them to take their seats. Wait a second. I just realized where the only spare seats in the classroom are. One of them is right behind me with a window view too, and the other is to my right. So that means they'll both be sitting next to me. Actually, this is pretty convenient. I can finally ask them just what the heck they think they're doing. Sayaka, with a spring in her step, waltzes towards the desk beside me. Hikari stomps her way over and takes the desk. I lean out from my desk to try and catch her attention, but I'm cut short by the teacher, who resumes whatever it is he was talking about before. Damn it, I don't want to get in trouble for talking during class. It'll have to wait until the break. That's 2 lessons away though, which is practically an eternity. I swing back around to the front of my desk. I can't do anything right now. So I'll just pay attention to the teacher and... no. How can I pay attention to anything when 2 magical girls are sitting near me? I want answers now. Drumming my fingers against the desk as the teacher continues to drone on, I try to think of a way around this. It's better I don't speak during class, so... of course, it's so obvious. I dig into my school bag and pull out my notebook and pencil. I'll just pass them a note. Simple, silent. It's a bit of an immature means of communicating, I'll admit, but I'm desperate here. I scribble down my message. What are you guys doing here? I may as well get straight to the point. I tear the page out, almost ripping it in half in the process. Only one question is left. Who do I give this note to? Sayaki or Hikari? I'm going to give it to the nice girl. Well, it's going to be harder to pass a note to someone directly behind me without looking too suspicious. I get the feeling Sayaka might actually want to respond. Kicking back in my chair, I lean backwards and then slip the note onto her desk whilst keeping my eyes forward as if I were a good student who was actually paying attention to the lesson at hand. At least, I think I managed to give her the note. After a minute or two of twiddling my thumbs, I begin to lose faith in my plan. Maybe this was something suddenly taps my shoulder. The same page I had torn out of my pad before floating down to my desk. Success. Written below my own hastily scrawled, just barely legible message is one in for neater far neater handwriting and accompanied by a smiley face. Sorry about that. We're here to protect you, silly. Protect me? Right. I remember saying something about them being my guardian angels and that they'd be keeping a closer eye on me, but this is ridiculous. I scribbled down my reply, writing so fast I have to cross out a word several times before I finally get it right. Okay, I get that part, but do you really need this to be close? How did you guys even manage to get enrolled? Did you forget how close you were to being chomped on this morning? We're not going to let that happen again, and as far as how we got in, well, let's just say we can be very persuasive. Hee. Who actually writes a hee? Whatever. At least she gave me an answer, somewhat. Now that I think about it, the teacher did look a little confused as he introduced them. I'm guessing they wormed their way into here with whatever magic powers they have. That's a bit scary, actually. Magic. I use that word so casually. Am I just accepting its existence now? Guess given the evidence, it's a bit hard not to, but I'm still going to remain skeptical. The first lesson of the day goes on at an agonizingly slow pace. I can't focus on a thing no matter how hard I try. And after what seems like an eternity, the bell finally rings, announcing the end of the lesson. There's still another lesson to go before break time, though. This makes it impossible to talk with the girls, especially since the next lesson is PE, where the boys and girls are separated. Again, why is life so complicated? After reluctantly getting changed for PE, I'm soon in the schoolyard with the male half of our class. Much like the first lesson, I find it hard to pay attention to the PE teacher as he goes through our basic warm-up exercises. I follow the exercises just about with as much enthusiasm as a zombie. The rest of the lesson is sort of a blur, at least until some of the male students start to look towards the track field where the girls are. They start staring in amazement, some even rubbing at their eyes as if it couldn't be real. What's so amazing? What are you guys all looking at? I muscle into the crowd that's formed so I can actually get a good look at the field. No way. The girls are running on the track, which isn't an amazing thing in itself, but it's who's running on the track that makes it such an unreal sight. Lord Jim. Sayaka is blazing across the track, practically a blur as she leaves the others in the dust. She's literally running circles around them. She doesn't look tired or exhausted at all either, save for the beads of sweat creeping up. In fact, she has a big smile on her face, clearly enjoying it all. As if it wasn't obvious before, these girls are on a completely different level. I'm sure she's breaking several kinds of records right here. The other girls in the group helplessly trail behind her, their expressions ranging from sheer confusion to envy. Some of those girls are, well, I guess were now, the top of their class when it came to track too, but she's making them all look like snails in comparison. I can't imagine how they must feel being showed up by someone who hasn't even been here a day. I can hardly keep my eyes on her. She seems to get just a little faster with each loop she makes around the track. It won't be long now before she becomes just one big blur encircling the place. Is she even human? I'm seriously beginning to doubt it here with this superhuman display. I think even the top athletes in this country couldn't compare to her. While Sayaka is hogging the spotlight here, there's something missing in all of this. Her far grumpier counterpart, Hikari. If anything, shouldn't she be neck and neck with Sayaka? I scan the ones trailing behind her, but can't find her either. Just where, oh, behind even the other girls being left in Sayaka's dust, I see someone dragging their feet, a sour expression on their face. She's just walking, her arms folded like usual. I wonder if her arms are glued like that. She isn't even trying. She must really have not wanted to enroll here. It must have been Sayaka's idea entirely. Teacher, what are you all staring at? Come on, let's get back to it. Apparently all forgetting we had our own lesson at hand, the teacher calls us back to reality, forcing us all to reluctantly stop gawking at the girls. The rest of the PE lesson goes by without anything much of note happening, and then finally, the lunch break arrives. I spot the magic girls in the classroom casually chatting away with some of the other students. I didn't think they'd be able to make friends already. Though after Sakura's little display earlier, she's probably the talk of the class. Oh, Kenta, hi there. She gives me a wave and a cheery smile, but I can hardly say I do the same. Okay, yeah, hi. Look, can we talk? Huh? Go for it. No, not here. I mean, can we talk somewhere private? Crap. That might have come out weird. I'm getting weird looks from everyone in the class, a few of them breaking into whispers and giggles. Sayaka is feigning surprise despite full well knowing what I mean. Oh my, this is a bit sudden. I don't know what to say. Come on, stop messing around. I've been dying to talk to you, both of you, since this morning. Oh God, I made it worse, didn't I? I somehow turned this into looking like one of the most awkward confessions ever. Are you always this forward with girls you've just met? She giggles, going along with the continued painful stares from the rest of the class. Well, if she's going to be like this, I have no choice. This is going to make me look even worse in front of the class, but I need answers. I take a deep breath to steel myself. Hey, what are you doing? I grab her by the wrist, pulling her along towards the classroom door, whether she likes it or not. Given what I witnessed before, I'm sure she could have me flat on the floor if she was truly opposed to this. I think she's just messing around at this point, though. And you too, come with me. Kea! Who said you could touch me? With my free hand, I take hold of Hikari's wrist, no doubt cementing myself as some sort of deviant within my class. Thankfully, they both follow along without too much resistance. Ignoring the brunt of Hikari's verbal abuse, I continue on to the doorway. Just have to find somewhere quiet where no one will hear us discuss this magic and monster business. The question is, oof. In all my haste to escape the classroom with both the girls in tow, I crash into somebody who is already making their way through the door. She stumbles backwards, looking slightly dazed. Thankfully, she doesn't look hurt. Are you okay? Sorry about that. I offer her an apologetic smile. Who is she again? She must be from my class. I can't recall her name at all, though. It's fine. She speaks in a cold tone, her equally cold eyes locked onto my own in an intense stare that completely betrays her words. Yikes. I guess she has a reason to be annoyed given my clumsiness, but this is a look of pure hate. Okay then. Confirming she's okay, I continue on with Hikari and Sayaka. They're protesting mostly from Hikari's side, increasing in volume. I can't even begin to imagine what this must look like for people passing by. I'm sure even as I head for the stairs, that girl is still staring at me. Did I do something to annoy her? I mean, besides the clumsiness from today, of course. Ah, I can't worry about her for now. I have bigger problems to worry about, namely two big problems, and one in each hand of mine. Emerging onto the roof, I'm thankful to see it's devoid of life. Safely walled by tall mesh fences, the roof is technically a spot students can spend their break at, but it really isn't that popular. Works for me. Okay, now you guys explain this whole mess. I release both of their wrists simultaneously. Sayaka bounces happily, completely unbothered, while Hikari, on the other hand, rubs at her wrist as if I had assaulted her. Next time, how about you ask before you go grabbing someone like that? You're lucky we're in a public place or I would have sliced you in two. Oh, this is exciting. This is going to be one of those confessions I've heard so much about. Huh? Confession? To who? Both of us? What the heck are they even? I shake my head. This isn't a confession. You know full well what this is about. I can feel my face burning up. It really is exhausting dealing with them. Sayaka gives me a teasing smile before bursting into a giggle. Apparently this is the funniest thing in the world to her. I know. You want an actual explanation for all of this, don't you? I just couldn't help myself. Thank you. I let out a sigh, my shoulders drooping. Finally. So, what did you want to know about first? Okay, this should be an obvious one to ask. I asked it before, but only got the vague answer of them being my supposed guardian angels. I'm hoping she feels more generous right now, though. Well, I'm Sayaki, and this is Hikari. Did you forget our names already, silly? I might actually rip my hair out here. I open my mouth to once more say that she knows damn well that's not what I mean, but it seems she's way ahead of me. In all seriousness, I'm not really sure how much I'm allowed to say. We're already bending the rules as it is with showing ourselves to you. I mean, really, this whole thing is a complete disaster. Why did you have to cause us so many problems? Hey, it's not my fault, I think. Just be thankful you're so important to me, or we could have left you to get eaten by that thing. Huh? The realization of what she said slowly dawns on her. It was quite fun to watch her usually grumpy face gradually go red before she stomps into a fluster. I mean, important to us. Us. Smooth. Sayaka giggles and gives her a playful punch on the shoulder. Humph. Wah! Hikari responds in kind by giving her a wallop to the shoulder with nothing playful about it. Are these two even partners? Anyway, I try my best to keep things on track, though I'm sure it won't be long before it devolves into violence again. I think the most we can tell you is, we're not from around here. Rather, we were sent here specifically to ensure your safety. Do you belong to some sort of group? Wait, are there more of you with these weird powers? Uh-huh. I might have said too much already. She rubs the back of her head with a grin that pretty much says, whoops. I probably won't be able to get any more info out of her on this subject. For today, at least. Maybe if I catch her off guard another day, she might let more slip. So, is there anything else you wanted to know? I want to know more about what the heck that thing was that they saved me from earlier. A shadow, I think she called it. I'm guessing there are more of those things lurking out there. And they're after me? Well, in this particular case they are. Though usually they're not so aggressive, but they've always been around lurking in the shadows. It's really weird. I've never seen one so brave as to attack someone in broad daylight. It was like something had gotten it really riled up. Or maybe she falls into thought, leaving Hikari and I to stand awkwardly, exchanging even more awkward glances. Sayaka? She snaps out of her stupor, blinking back to reality. Huh? Oh, sorry. Don't worry, it's nothing. What the heck did I do to annoy those monsters anyway? It's not what you did, it's because of who you are. Who I am? Yeah, you're Sayaka! Wow, okay. Sorry. Sayaka is cut off by an ear-piercing cry from Hikari. Ow, I guess I'll never know now. Hikari seems adamant about keeping this a secret. He doesn't need to know any of that. It's better this way. I missed that last bit. We'll sort out the problem at hand, then we can finally leave this horrible school. You're no fun. You're right, though. Sorry, Kenta. She gives me an apologetic look. She really sounds sincere, too, like she's practically bursting to tell me, but just can't. No use pressing it, I suppose. Maybe one day. So, is there anything else you wanted to know? Yeah, when are you going to stay here? This is an important one. Just exactly how long do they plan on staying here to watch over me? Sayaka pulls a frown at my question, a genuinely sad-looking one that tugs at my heartstrings. Was it really that bad? It's almost like you don't want us around. Are we that much of a nuisance? Damn it, why does she have to phrase it like that? That's clearly not what I meant, I think. It's just, as long as they're here, I'm sure there's going to be nothing but trouble in my life. Ah, come on, I didn't mean it like... She suddenly burst into a bright, beaming smile again, almost blinding me. I know, you're just easy to mess with. I couldn't help myself. This girl, she breaks into a laugh, one I'm sure can be heard by the entire school from all the way up here. We won't be here long, I promise. Just until we've sorted things out. I guess you can't tell me what needs to be sorted out. She puts her finger to her nose and winks. I thought so. Top secret and all that. But we're in the process of figuring this whole mess out. It shouldn't take long. Maybe a couple days. A week at the most. A week. If it was up to me, we'd be gone by tomorrow. I hate this place. It's so noisy. Well, if somebody was more useful and helped me instead of just complaining all the time, we might get things done quicker. Whoa, she said that without her smile faltering one bit. Her tone just as cheery despite the biting words. It's kind of scary. Even Hikari has no argument against that, those words causing her to fall silent as she shrinks back from her deceptively bright partner. Moving on. So, was there anything else you wanted to know? I guess that's all we have time for now. I think the bell for the second half is about to... Yep, there it is. Oh, time to go back now, is it? She stretches her arms into the air, giving a small yawn. Well, I hope we were able to clear things up a little. Something like that. Come on, we don't want to be late. Sayaka bounds for the stairs as if we were in some sort of race, her partner trailing behind as she gives me one last look. She stops, her eyes cast downward for a moment before flickering back up. Hey, what's up? Nothing. It's nothing. And like that, she disappears down the stairs too, leaving me alone on the roof. Huh. I wonder what that was all about. I guess I should follow after them. I don't want to be late again. As I start for the stairs, my stomach makes a terrifying sound. One that screams for food. Oh right, in all my haste to figure out what the girls were doing, I neglected to get any lunch at all. Ah. And that's the beginning of part 1.